First off, this is so racist. But then it's like, I love this show.
Is that both? Aren't they both Jared Hess's?
Yeah, all of the ones that Jack Black has starred in, other than Napoleon Dynamite, with Minecraft movie and...
so 2/3 of the ones we're aware of. Yeah, did you guys see the new Minecraft movie trailer? Well, not really trailer, but the
I saw
introduction.
The sneak peek.
Yeah.
With Kirsten Dunst.
I don't know.
But did you see who the unnamed character is?
Steve.
The British guy?
Oh, no.
You didn't? I was in the sneak peek. I can't remember his name, but I love him.
Unnamed.
He plays the pig in Disenchanted.
Plays the pig in Disenchanted.
Wait, Minecraft British guy?
Yeah. He also is in IT Crowd.
Barry.
Manilow.
Nope.
Barry Manilow.
Nope. His last name's Barry. Oh my gosh. He was also in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yes.
Excellent.
But Minecraft 2 cast.
What is his name? Something Barry. I don't want to look it up because it's going to come to me and it's going to
Holly Berry.
It's not Holly Berry. It's not Wendell Berry. Very good author. Everybody needs to go read Jaber Crow.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Jaber Crow.
Sorry, I said Disenchanted. I think I meant Disenchantment.
Little column A, little column B.
He's not part of the cast.
He is, because he was in the last one.
What?
He was the voice of the villager. In the last one. Matt Berry.
There you go.
Who the heck is Matt Berry?
Oh, he's amazing.
If you hear his voice, you would recognize him.
You want to talk about cult classics? That man has been in some very deep British cult classics.
Oh, I think I looked up the wrong Matt Berry. He's in ESPN.
So,
No, this is Matt Berry.
remember...
Oh, yeah, that's not the Matt Berry I got.
Matt Berry's the voice of the villager at the very end when he speaks English.
Oh, hello.
I don't think people realize that.
Thick accent.
Listen, if you ever want to watch just the weirdest but funniest show, Darth Marenghi's Dark Place. It's most excellent. Anyways, let's get started.
Okay.
Welcome everyone to the Twaddling Along podcast. I am your host, Dan McBride, here in the basement of our parents' home with my brothers and co-hosts, Josh and Jake.
Do you know that his villager name was Nitwit?
Oh, that's sad. He was also in Crapopolis. He was.
That is the most British humor name I've ever heard.
Let's see. He was in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Oh, by the way,
He was in the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, he's a very famous voice
He's
actor.
also going to be in the new Cat in the Hat movie. Ooh.
If he's Cat in the Hat.
I don't know. Let's see.
Hello, my name is Cat.
Let's see who's the cast of Cat in the Hat.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, Bill Hader's the Cat in the Hat.
Wait, Bill Hader already played the Cat in the Hat.
Well, now he's going to be the Cat in the Hat.
One of the best SNL skits ever. Hi everyone, I'm the Cat in the Hat. Linda.
Oh, he's the fish.
Oh, I like that. Matt Berry, everyone.
I don't know why I just did that, but
Because
I meant
you
to do
have
this.
unbelievable attention deficit disorder.
That's true.
Hey, this week on
Speaking of-
Twaddling Along podcast, Josh is in charge.
Bless us.
And Josh is talking about something serious this week.
I know. Everyone, put your seatbelts on if you're driving. If you're not driving, put your seatbelts on, and because we're actually not going to laugh today. This is actually a very serious thing.
I'm out.
I am not going to mention any bodily fluids and or physical fluids. We're not going to talk about the royal throne.
We already did that.
And so this is going to be a very serious thing. Danny, that was my preface. I'm just kidding.
I think he literally
I was
talked
gonna
about
say,
each thing that he said that he's not talking about already.
You want my preface?
No, I have a preface.
Okay.
Okay, so preface. Before we, I announced what it was last week, but whatever.
You're prefacing.
I'm prefacing. All three of us have very deep spiritual beliefs and have opinions in regards to today's topic. Our views do not reflect any church or organized religion. However, today's podcast will be influenced by the beliefs that we have. With that being said, those who classify themselves as non-religious and those who classify themselves as very religious have shared similar experiences of which we might discuss today. There's no definitive answer according to science answering the what and the why about our topic today. And so what we talk about today are various opinions and not definitive truth.
That's very good, Josh.
Thanks. AI wrote it.
I got a lot more detailed.
I'm totally kidding. That was not AI.
I was like, wow, if that was AI, it sure sounded like you.
Because I am AI. Yeah, we are talking about near-death experiences.
Took the air right out of the room with that one.
Yeah, sorry. I did it in a very happy sound.
And why are we doing that?
It was a request from our good friend, Mr. Barrett. Shout out, Mr. Barrett.
Chris.
Hey. Shout out, Chris. Hey, man. Thanks for recommending this. This is actually a topic that is near and dear to my heart. I love hearing about near-death experiences. They've always been fascinating to me, so I'm excited to talk about it.
I love it. This is one of those ones that I think it's going to be a little bit more serious because we are men of faith.
Yes.
I think that our faith is going to play a big part in how we interpret this. And to be very clear, because we're dancing around it, we're members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a.k.a.
I don't know if we've really ever danced around that.
That's true. But I felt like we were.
I will say this. That's my employer.
Formerly known as the Mormons.
You're going to have to cut that out, Josh.
It's fine.
Everyone knows. Look to my LinkedIn.
And so a lot of our ideologies come from that. And although we're not very, we don't come right out and say it all the time, this is one of those times that I think it's going to be obvious the most.
Yes.
As we're talking about death, and we're talking about afterlife, and we're talking about our beliefs in the afterlife, and what we interpret from near-death experiences and all sorts of things. So.
Yeah, especially because one of the deep questions that everyone tries to answer in life is, where did we come from? Why are we here? And where are we going? And near-death experiences could at least shed some light on that third question, which will be interesting. So let's dive in. Near-death experiences as a science topic, though, studies have gotten really serious within the last 50 years, I would say. 1970s, a lot of people became very interested. However, near-death experiences have been recorded all the way back into ancient Greek times. Homer, the philosophers of old, Socrates, all of them mentioned different experiences that they had come across of near-death experiences.
Sure.
So it's pretty cool. So this has been going on for a long time. It's not just a recent occurrence.
You can even look at some of the major literary moments, even in the past couple hundred years, like Dante's Inferno is a near-death experience.
Yeah.
That is what is being described in Dante's Inferno. You could even say that Christmas Carol is probably a near-death experience. It's a fictionalized near-death experience, but nonetheless, it is someone coming to face with their mortality.
Yep.
Some excellent books. I already did one book shout out, but I'm going to do another one. The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. Very good book about dying and death and near-death experience. And then, yeah. So
what is a near-death experience? As described and defined in science, it's a disturbed bodily multisensory integration occurring around the time of clinical death. That was a lot of big freaking words.
Those were amazing words, Joshua.
But the only thing I'm going to define is clinical death. So there's 2 types of death in science. There's clinical death, which is when you stop breathing and don't have a heartbeat. And then there's biological death where you're not able to be revived. So it is literally the death of one's body. So 2 different types of death, but clinical death is the one that's defined with near-death experiences because as it is, it's near death, but not dead. You come back, of course. In religious views, it is the departure of a spirit from the physical body. So yeah, kind of cool. There was a person way back in 1975. For all our older listeners, I'm sorry I just said that. Named Raymond Moody. Jake, do you know a lot about Raymond Moody?
No.
Okay, neither do I. But he came up with 15 elements that define what a near-death experience is. We're not going to read all of them. We're going to read the new 2022 guidelines that define what a near-death experience is. And it's summed up in 6 different kind of subsections. Number 1, separation. Number 2, heading to a place. Number 3, life playback. Number 4, home again. Number 5, coming back. And 6, the effects after living the event. And so it's, we're going to kind of dive into each of those subsections and talk about what those mean as a near-death experience.
I like it.
So let's do it. Separation. We're going to start by sharing an experience by one Scott. Let's actually do Vinnie Tolman. Vinnie Tolman has a very popular near-death experience. He, in his 20s, I believe, was a bodybuilder. And back in the day, there was a drug that they could take to recover one's body, muscle recovery, in a shorter amount of time than 2 days. So you could work out your arms every day instead of, every other day to maximize muscle growth. Well, the drug was really hard to get, so they ordered it from Thailand. But what they didn't know is instead of a 5% concentrate, it was 100% concentrate. So he took 50 times the amount that he was supposed to take, and his body went into shock, and he asphyxiated on his own vomit.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, in a Burger King or a Dairy Queen.
Yes,
bathroom. Yep. So this is where the separation occurs. It defines it in different ways, detaching from the physical body. So in the case of Vinny watched this body from what he said, almost like a movie standpoint from above, where he didn't recognize his own body, but he saw it as just a playing out of a scene. But he was separated from his body. So
in the vernacular of the near-death experience, it's called an out-of-body experience, or OBE.
Yep. So detaching from the spirit, physical body, and then having unexpected mental clarity. I watched listened to a lot of near-death experiences in preparation for this, and a lot of them really did. It was confusing in the sense that some of them were atheists and didn't believe that there was consciousness after death, but a lot of them had mental clarity in the sense of, I can still think, I still remember, I know exactly what's about, and there was no fear. So that kind of goes with the next one, initial disorientation. So not necessarily knowing where they are, but understanding that they may be separated from one's own body.
Mm-hmm.
And after this, they feel free. That's one of the key things of a near-death experience is when their consciousness is separated from their physical body, once they come to realization that they have died, they feel free. And a lot of them actually go and explore, which I thought was kind of funny. A lot of them go out and explore the world in which that dimension, as they call it, is, which I thought was pretty cool. Visual perception, viewing the scene or the body from above. Panoramic vision, felt capable of seeing in every direction. So having an infinite vision, not being able to, or be able to see everything and not being limited by a physical eye, Emotional distance from earthly events. Core sense of self persists, which I thought was a very interesting definition. Core sense of self, understanding that you're still you when separated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the first one, separation. It deals a lot. It's the key moments at the very beginning of a near-death experience where you understand that you have died, that you are still conscious, but you're not in your physical form per se.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's almost universal. So I was looking into this because I thought, well, maybe different cultures experience this differently, but the initial separation is an almost universal experience from near-death experience. Not everybody has the out-of-body experience.
Yeah.
Like the literal, like floating above your body. A lot of people don't have that. More people have like, the light or presence or passing through a passage or whatever, or being
The tunnel.
or being guided by some things. But almost everybody that I read about, at least, has that separation that has the profound peace,
Yes.
the well-being, the calm detachment, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about a lot of these near-death experiences. There were some that I came across that were that they were mad at what they saw. They were sad at what they saw and or agitated. But I would say a majority felt this calm and peaceness that a lot of times they didn't want to come back
Well, and
to their body.
It's interesting that you say that because one of the core themes within the NDERF, which is a terrible acronym for the Near-Death Experience.
NDERF?
Yeah.
The Near-Death Experience Research Foundation, NDERF. NDERF. They have their own core emotions, and or core themes, and one of the very first things they talk about is that your emotions are heightened, but within that heightened emotion, you are detached by your emotions, and a lot of people comment that it feels more real than real life.
Yeah.
As in, like, you are meant to be there. A common thing that you read about nowadays is it feels like you're taking off the VR glasses.
Mm-hmm.
That popped up a whole lot.
Which I think is crazy.
I like the idea that your consciousness just becomes so much clearer than it ever was when you were present here on Earth.
Yeah. You almost feel like your restrictions have come off. Like your blinders, if anyone rides horses, blinders come off so you're not limited.
The second core theme of NDERF is actually that altered consciousness, and they recognize it as crystal clear thinking or a sense of expanded awareness. What's weird is it's also associated with time distortion. In other words, you have no idea, nor do you really care about how much time has passed, if time is even a thing. It just is, you're there and you're around. So
yeah, a lot of the near-death experiences that I listen to, these people, the experiences that they express seems like it's a very long time that they're in this altered state where they're taught several different things that could go on for days. But then they ask their doctors, how long was I dead? 2 minutes or a minute and a half or, only a few seconds. The time is not perceivable on that side. So, all right. Number 2, the second guideline or second principle of the guideline is heading to a place as mentioned, being pulled toward a certain place, whether that be some people are pulled towards blackness, other people are pulled towards light or a tunnel or a different dimension. Some people describe it as. Some people experience being pulled up towards the sky into space, where they can see, the cosmos and stars and things.
Yeah, other people get pulled down.
Yeah, there was one.
There are very unhappy and distressing near-death experiences. There are not many of them, surprisingly enough.
Yeah.
Well, the NDERF, they say about 2% of the stories that they come in are what you would consider to be distressing.
Yes.
But the interesting thing about the distressing ones oftentimes is once they reach out to their deity, and most of the ones I listen to, it's Christ. You're pleading, is that then they are lifted up to that area.
One of the ones I listened to was actually on the Joe Rogan Experience, where he mentions that he was dying from a small surgery. He was bleeding internal, it was a brain aneurysm. And so he was slowly dying and had this near-death experience, and a black hole opened up on below him and started pulling him down. He felt that he was being pulled, and his dead father showed up, and his dad said, "I can help you if you come with me. And it actually made him really mad that his dad would offer that, because he was an atheist, didn't believe in, anything after death. So following his dad would mean that he would cease to exist.
Interesting.
And so he thought that it was a curse to see that, because his dad was tempting him to die, not live.
That is a very interesting interpretation. I don't necessarily think that's
No.
the correct interpretation, but
Yeah.
The movement through the passage is one of the most universal and cross-cultural core pattern within the near-death experience.
I mean, I'll bring up Disney's Soul. When the souls are going on the stairs up to heaven, that's kind of exactly, going towards the light. Don't go towards the light, whatever, is this tunnel experience.
This idea of being drawn to something, though, is I could not find one single religious or non-religious experience that did not have the sense of, and they explain it differently. Some people are saying they're being drawn to something. Some people say they're being pulled. Some people just say they have the desire to go somewhere else, but it's almost completely universal that you are feeling drawn towards something and away from something.
Yeah.
A lot of times you feel like, oh, I'm moving away from my life. Like I can feel myself moving away.
And you could leave your earth life behind. That was a lot of other things that I learned or listened to, was they were happy to leave, the sorrows, the other things here on earth, and experience what this new experience was. So I thought that was pretty cool. All right. Number 3, life playback. This is a huge thing.
Life review.
I had my life flash before my eyes. This is very, very, very common in near-death experiences. And, whenever I hear a life review or life being playback, I'm like, oh, flip, man, I've done a lot of bad crap. That would suck if I had. But a lot of the people were like, you watch it, you did bad things. You can't say you didn't do it. You did it. And you just kind of accept that it had occurred.
The way that they explained it is unconditional acceptance.
Yeah.
In other words, like you go through key life events that had emotional impacts. You receive some kind of moral insight that's really widely known, and you just accept it.
Yeah.
Like you don't fight against it. There's not like, I feel uncomfortable by it. It's more just like, hey, this is what it was. And you can move on.
Yeah. And the other cool thing about a life review in a lot of cases is they were, not only did they see it, but they could play it back from a different perspective. So being the person that they may have affected by saying something or whatever, and then feeling the emotions that occurred, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, a lot of people call it the empathetic life review.
I think that's awesome. But at the same time, that is absolutely terrifying.
Well, what I've heard is a lot of the people, it's, oh man, I really did that person wrong.
Yeah.
But then they soon discovered that they did a lot more good than they ever thought.
Yeah.
And that there was a lot of joy that they took from that.
Yep. And I love that. And especially with those that are more religious, moving past, it's all forgiven. Move forward. Now we can move to the next step of this journey that they're going through. Let's see. Is there the value of dignity, leading a life practicing ethics and morality? And this is, I guess I should also mention, this kind of ties in with the last one, which is number 6, of how this affects the person after they come back to life. Because this is where they learn those moral things that they may not have understood beforehand, which I thought was pretty cool. The next is home again. And I love this concept where you go back to a place that feels familiar and or comfortable, and you feel at home, which I think is cool. A lot of times it's a field, something that you're familiar with, trees, meadows. Sometimes, like one lady, it was a home on the side of a cliff that she had become aware was her a familial house in Scotland. And so it was an ancestral home.
I want to go back to Scotland.
Yeah. And then so she flew to this ancestral home.
When you die, you're going to go to Scotland, Danny. Is that what's going to happen?
I'm going to sit on the shores of Loch Lomond and be very content with everything.
Once Danny passes away and you hear of the haunting on the beach of Loch Lomond, you're going to know.
Lomond.
No, Danny would go to our family castle, Eilendolen.
I would go to Eilendolen.
And he would just haunt
the
Eilendolen.
crap out of Eilendolen. The other cool thing about this Home Again segment is you really a lot of people achieve absolute peace. You feel connected to everything around you, and you feel an overabundance of love.
Well, I was going to say, so it's not that you are accepted or that you've accepted peace. What I was reading is that you literally encounter peace.
Yeah.
As if it's an external kind of validation. A lot of people described it as a bright, loving, intelligent light, something that was communicating non-verbally, but was communicating pure love. And once again, this unconditional acceptance, but it was external this time.
Yeah.
As if you went to this place and what you found is something giving you like peace, something giving you love, something giving you acceptance. And it wasn't tied towards anything. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing that people kept talking about again and again and again. I mean, this is Islamic people. It was, you get to a place and you are accepted for your faults. Mm-hmm. You are accepted for your misgivings. You're just accepted and loved.
And so let's go back to the experience of Vinnie Tolman. He had a guide throughout his entire near-death experience that identified himself as Drake. And as you find out at the end of the story, it was an ancestor of his that actually lived. But in his learning and his process to getting to the home, this place that you feel comfortable in, he had to learn to be authentic to himself, that you need to remove everything that, the masks and stuff that you wear day to day with the different people you work with or see in life, and just be your authentic self. And that was how he could move forward, was being authentic to who he really was.
So Endorf put together about 16,000 experiences. This is case number 4,871. After a severe allergic reaction, the experiencer reported floating above her body before being approached by two tall beings of light. They communicated what she considered to be telepathically. However, when I actually read this, it wasn't really telepathically. She said they communicated through her heart, which was very interesting wording. Anyways, radiating warmth and assurance. She felt that they had known her forever. They guided her through a tunnel-like transition into a realm filled with soft colors and a sense of profound belonging. The beings showed her scenes from her life and explained that she had misunderstood her own worth. When she expressed a desire to stay, they told her she had agreed to more before birth. She woke moments later on the ER floor as paramedics worked on her.
Ooh.
In that same one, because I actually watched her interview, she was actually given the opportunity to see what that plan of life was and that what she chose to do. And she talks about that there was multiple paths that she could choose from decisions in her life to reach certain moments, but this is one of the pinnacle moments that was always going to happen no matter what choice she had made.
There's a lot of people meeting some guide. There's a lot of stories of like people that are being guided by a teacher or something. So here's another one. Following a drowning incident, a young man found himself standing on the wooden bridge over a misty valley. His deceased grandfather appeared beside him, looking healthy and younger than he remembered. The grandfather placed an arm around him and explained that he had come to guide him across. As they walked, the grandfather stopped and pointed to a distant glow, saying the young man could not go any further unless he wanted to. He told him his mother still needed him. The next moment, the young man felt himself falling backwards into his own body as rescuers pulled him from the water. That's case 15,590, a very recent one.
One thing that's really interesting about that communication that we talked about, that telepathic or the heart-to-heart, is the idea that at that point there is no hiding anything.
No.
You can't keep a secret because whatever you are literally broadcasting to anything and everything around you.
The other weird thing about that, though, is there's no shame involved. Like, I couldn't even imagine it right now if I was broadcasting all of my deep, dark desires, because I think at this point people would run for fear. But at that point, because I read that too, it's like, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's part of it.
We literally are here to control that and learn how to, work with it. Just the idea of the being authentic.
Yeah.
That seems to be a common theme.
I love it. Near-death experiences, everyone.
Okay, here's another one. Endorf case 2210. A 7-year-old boy who nearly died from fever reported being led by a shining man who held his hand and walked with him through a garden. The guide explained things very slowly, like speaking to a child, and told him he was safe. The boy said the guide felt like a dad I knew before I was born. The guide eventually knelt and told him he had to go back to his parents. The boy cried, but the guide hugged him and promised they would meet again. He woke in his mother's arms as doctors stabilized him.
There you go.
See, it's just stuff like that. You're just like, man, that is so cool.
16.
And I want to have that experience, but I don't know if I want to have that experience
wait for a
without
little
it.
while.
I wouldn't come back. That's the thing is a lot of times, some of them were given a choice, but a lot of times they were told they had to go back. I would hate to come back, and we'll talk about the coming back section here in just a second, but I could only imagine how difficult it would be, because one of the subsections of home is that existence in this new reality becomes more real than the earthly life that you live, and that you become familiar and almost like accustomed to that type of experience.
Yep.
Well, then when they return, it's that bondage feeling, they say.
Yep. So coming back, let's go back to Vinnie Tolman. Vinnie Tolman was at this point of his near-death experience where he was heading into this light. He was going to be enveloped into this light. But all of a sudden he heard what he described as a prayer from his brother.
It was a priesthood blessing.
Yeah, a priesthood blessing. And what he said about the words and the feeling that he had, remember we're talking about this telepathic stuff, he felt in his heart was a love not only for him who had passed away, but a caring and a love for the mother who, he didn't want her to have to go through seeing his dying son, and just a love for the people around him and everything. So he said, even though he was not anywhere near, his earthly physical body, he said it was almost as if it was happening right there with him. And as soon as the prayer ended, he was back in his body. He was contained.
Endorf, they have a qualifier on near-death experiences that they say is almost universal as well, and that's called the boundary of no return. That in most experiences, you have either a literal boundary, a line, a gate, a river, a threshold, a veil, exactly. And during that time, you are either being told or sensing that you must choose a decision of returning. A lot of them are, hey, not your time, you're heading back. And it's not necessarily like a person that's saying that. Some people just said they walked up and they're like, oh, I'm not ready yet. And then they would go back. Other people fought tooth and nail to stay. I mean, yelling, screaming, gnashing of teeth kind of thing.
And I'll share experience at the end of this, of that whole thing, of someone close to us who had a near-death experience, who very similar. But coming back, that coming back subsection is approaching an irreversible threshold.
Wait, say that again, Joshua.
Approaching an irreversible threshold.
I thought you said air vegetable.
That's literally, I think, what he said. I am going to isolate it.
Yep.
And I'm going to use it nonstop.
Because my ringtone.
Can you just imagine you're on the other side and you turn and you're like, cucumber. Oh, okay.
Gosh. Jake, I need you to draw me Air vegetables.
And an air vegetable.
Josh writing an air vegetable.
Is the drawing going to have to be me as an air vegetable telling Josh he needs to go back?
Hey, yes. I will say that VeggieTales has been popping up on my social media a lot recently.
I played VeggieTales for my children the other day, and they're like, what is this?
Oh,
I was
my
like,
childhood.
It's VeggieTales.
I sat down. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I started watching, and I started giggling to myself because I thought it was so funny. And then I went, oh, I don't think my kids would find this funny, but I find it hilarious.
So the coming back experience sometimes is okay for people.
Yeah.
A lot of, but a majority I found were very restrictive, and they
claustrophobic is how they say it.
Claustrophobic, or they felt restrained, not able to experience that fullness that they had just experienced.
They say as if and one of the things I was reading, as if an arm was ripped from my side, an arm I didn't know that I had before.
Yeah, and so back to the experience that we've been showing Vinny, when he woke up, he was a bodybuilder and everything. He ripped all of the needles and stuff out of him, and actually they all started going off saying emergency, emergency, that he actually unplugged all of them, and the ones that were still in the wall, he just ripped out of the wall because he...
And then he left his bed and went down the hallway. Can you imagine
naked.
being the nurse that comes in and finds an empty bed?
Well, and the thing that he talks about in several of the times that he tells it is, first he was butt naked, so he found some clothes to put on just around his waist. And as he was walking down, his thought wasn't necessarily, I just need to leave this place. But when the nurses started yelling, he realized, I can get the nurses in trouble if I leave.
Yeah.
And so I need to go back. And he's like, I wouldn't have thought that before this near-death experience.
The
but it
extension
started
of empathy.
Yeah.
Which is also very common.
Very, very, very common.
But yeah, a lot of times it's hard to come back. One of the prophets of our faith, Brigham Young, had a near-death experience and said that he felt like he was crammed into a small 1-inch box when he came back, and said it was the worst thing that he had ever experienced. And so the coming back is a hard thing. But a majority of the time, the effects over time are relatively positive. People live a better life than they did before they had passed away, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, there's so Endorf, sorry, I keep bringing Endorf up. Endorf has a couple of things that they have actually put together that they say this is the expectation. If this happens to you, know that like your initial is going to be your loneliness, emotional overwhelming and everything. But weeks, months, you're going to experience probably a loss of the fear of death, which is, Josh is probably going to tell the story, but we know someone very close to us who literally there was no more fear of death. Increase in compassion, heightened sensitivity to light, sound, emotions, or conflict, as if you are, as we were talking about, way more empathetic, and it continues for a while. Difficulty with normal lives, like small talk doesn't feel right anymore. It feels trivial. You want to kind of express the deeper things. Mm-hmm. You're much more expressive about your love. And then a sense of mission, like you were sent back for a purpose.
But overall, lasting beneficial impact.
Yeah.
These people live, at least a majority of them live better lives because they learned something during that near-death experience.
Yeah. It's not all roses, though.
No, of course not.
There is, they say, like this empty feeling that does not go away. Like it continues with you. They call it kind of like eternal homesickness is, I think, one of the ways that someone said it, as if you're always kind of like, I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm here.
Yep.
Some of the people that I watched, they would say that they were in that super depressed state for weeks. And occasionally they would have the mind come, you can go back there, you can end it now. But then feeling that or thinking about that would bring about the, no, remember, it's not your time.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those that like even people that had suicidal thoughts recognize that, oh no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
There is also feelings of alienation.
Yeah.
I mean, you have gone through something that has put you in a different place mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And so you don't have kind of the connections that you would have.
Yeah, a lot of time you're called crazy.
Yeah.
Science can explain near-death experiences.
Let's talk about science for a minute.
Yeah, there's an attempt. There's attempts because the brain is a fascinating thing.
There are, and they are quick to point out a couple things. When you die or as you are dying, there is a lot of things that are happening in your body. Your body is dumping a whole bunch of serotonin, dopamine. It's trying everything it possibly can to try to keep you alive. And there are, some people that say, well, those are the things that you're experiencing. You're experiencing hallucinogenic DMT releases and everything like that. Mm-hmm. However, I was looking into this a lot more and I was jotting down a couple things. Obviously consciousness is not understood. We really still do not understand on a scientific level what consciousness is. Mm-hmm. What's really weird is that people who are having these experiences are having them when they're hooked up to some pretty serious medical things. And some of the lady that we were talking about before that fell in the ice, mm-hmm. when she was hooked up to a machine, she was on an EEG and the brain was gone.
Yep.
It was offline. It was complete brain dead. And yet she's experiencing things that should have been firing every sort of synapse that you've got. Mm-hmm. I mean, you would have had neurological activity and yet her EEG was showing nothing.
Yeah.
There is some very strange consistencies across culture. There is a lot of similarity worldwide of how people explain this, even like different religious backgrounds.
Even those that don't have a religious background.
Yeah.
Where they thought consciousness ended at death, still have similar experiences of faith.
Although it's not all the time, there are a handful of them, enough to make it, I don't want to say eerie because that's not the right word, but interesting that people are verifying things that are outside of the room. Yeah. People are able to talk about there's the famous, I don't know if you guys read it, but it's the little girl that died and was able to describe the weird shoes on the third level of the hospital.
Yeah.
That one of the nurses,
on the roof.
that was on the roof. Yeah.
Yep.
The one I'm aware of is that there was the ceiling, since it was one of those ceilings that could become unattached.
There was a man in the ceiling.
There was a sticker.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was able to say, if you look up there, there's a sticker, and they looked up there and there was a sticker. And it's like, as much as our brain is awesome, I don't think we can, get X-ray vision,
And I mean, for those of you who are listening that are not religious, obviously you're going to point out, well, here are three boys who are Christian, who are faithful, so we're going to be probably slightly.
Josh is already going to be coming at me with pamphlets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I'm biased. A lot of these things prove my faith.
Yeah.
In my eyes,
there's going to be bias built into it, but I would also say, don't let your own personal biases ruin it, because you might want to be looking at this as well a little bit differently. So
one of the things that I loved in one of the experiences that I listened to, they said the thing that is presented before you is presented in a way that makes you comfortable. This guide that was leading him,
sure,
because she looked back and it was just dark and gray and just a cloud. And she was like, why is it like this? And they said, what you're seeing is not the end area that we want you to get to. This is just a lead up, but we want to make you comfortable to learn the things that you can to get to that end goal. So, for example, a lot of the atheists that I listened to, a lot of them were in space learning about the cosmos, the center of creation, that type of thing, instead of, a heavenly field learning different stuff. Sure. So there's still a comfortability factor as well, I think.
Oh, 100%. And when you can actually read about it. So in Hinduism, Hinduism has a common thing that happens with people who have near-death experiences, and that their guide often takes the form of what is called the Yamudatas, which is kind of in Hinduism, it is not quite angel, not quite demon, kind of messenger. Think of like the river Styx, like
Hermes.
Yeah, kind of the psychopomp, I think is what they're called. It's the person who guides them to the death. The funny thing is then afterward, when they describe what these Yamadatas look like, they've got a couple similarities to some other things, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all based on your also culture. It's like your cultural understanding. In Islam, they often will go, their peaceful place is a place that's actually spoken about in the Quran called the Barzakh, which is the place of resting. It's where their soul goes. And it's supposed to be like a field of milk and honey, very, very kind of biblical Quran, Judeo-Christian kind of thing. So, I mean, it's always going to be kind of, and I think that's probably part of the experience. It's going to be something that you're comfortable with because the place and what's happening, I don't think is really the important part of it. Mm-hmm. I think it's more the learning.
Yeah.
So,
it's one of those that you look at and you go, from what people are saying, like a lot of these areas they're going to are introductory areas. They're locations that introductions happen that will then progress further, but they never really are able to go beyond that because of what is told them. So you often wonder, if I was a loving deity, why not just create a place that would be comfortable for them to first come into and then...
One of my favorite descriptions that I came across when I was going through the NDERF files is someone explained it like this. They explained that in Disneyland, when you're going on the Indiana Jones ride, the first place you go through is where the video is being shown. That tells you exactly what's going to happen.
Hello, my friends.
And that's literally how they explain it. They said what it felt like is that you were in a place right before another place.
Yeah.
And this place, the whole purpose of it was calm down.
It's okay.
Everything's okay. You are all right. What you are feeling now is perfectly fine. And you need to come to terms with a couple things before we take you to the next spot.
Yeah, one person who had studied
psychology,
that too, who experienced this, described it as almost the biggest culture shock of your life. If you've ever gone to a different country and lived in it for a while that's way different than the culture you're used to, you kind of go through this. I don't know. I mean, Jake, I think, is the only one who really...
Yeah, full cultural shock.
I mean, Compton was kind of a culture shock for you, Dan.
Amen to that.
But you go through a moment where it's like, holy crap, but then coming back, it was just as big. Oh my gosh, this is crap. So, pretty incredible. So, the last experience I'm going to share is a personal one to us three and probably to many of us viewers. Thing is this person, at least as I am aware, didn't share too much about it. But
just made it known that it happened.
Yep.
To a point.
And she explained why she came back. And let's just say she was really mad about it.
Yeah.
But our grandma, name's Dorothy. Oh, Dorothy.
Who has since passed on.
Yes, she has passed on.
And got over that rainbow bridge that everybody else kept getting turned away from.
Yes. She had entered into surgery. And I can't remember if there were complications to the surgery or if it was after. But she passed away. And they were trying to revive her.
Clinically dead.
Yep, she was clinically dead.
For several minutes.
And she was revived, but she said that she had... gone to a place and she felt utmost peace. So much so that it was better than anything she'd experienced here on Earth. And when she was there, she wasn't planning to come back. She had made the decision, hey, I'm staying. But she then heard the voices of each of her children. She had 6 kids. All of them were religious folk, and they were praying that she would come back. And she said that the words and prayers of her kids are kind of what brought her back to life, and that she didn't want to. But that's what ended up bringing her back. and she was pissed.
She was not very happy.
She was
not happy that she had to come back.
She was mad that her kids didn't, in her eyes, didn't want her to experience what was on this other side.
That didn't last, obviously.
That didn't last.
No.
I was only 2. She loved me, even though...
Well, and I think afterward, Grandma, being a little bit more cognizant of what was going on at the time, what happened is Grandma became... She ceased to have fear, not only in death, but like the trivial things.
Oh, yeah.
At that point, Grandma wasn't all that concerned about the little things. She was more concerned about, hey, my family.
Family's everything.
I want to talk about my family. I want to tell you about my family. I want you guys to experience my family. She wanted to talk about religion a lot more.
Yeah.
She wanted to talk about, hope. And like, it was, I don't know if she would ever agree with us that it was a good thing, but it was a good thing for the rest of us to hear it from her.
Yeah, and of course. And one of the most special things for me is she described what it smelled like.
She did.
She said it smelled like rain. And I always remember her whenever it rained at her house. She lived close to the mountains here in Utah. All her windows would be open to allow the smell of rain to come in, because she said that is what heaven smelled like to her. So, like I said, near-death experiences, I think that experience that my grandma had really has had an impact on me, because I've always loved near-death experiences. As well as I don't fear death. That is something that I don't fear. I've never had a near-death experience, but I don't fear death. I don't fear what's on the other side. If there is anything on the other side, I believe there is. And it just goes to show that there's how many case studies, Danny, that they don't fear death anymore either.
16,000.
16,000.
Well, most of them don't.
Most of them don't.
There's a few in there that are like, yeah, I went to hell. It was on fire. And
there was a lot of angry people there.
There was a lot of not very nice people. But the vast majority of them were very, very positive and very life-affirming and very...
Yeah. And I'll also say the ones that had a hell-like experience, some of them came out realizing, hey, I need to change.
All of them came out. Every single one that I read was, I saw that and I said, I'm going to become a better person. And they did. Yep. They became a better person.
So near-death experiences, are they a natural phenomena that's just our brain shooting off neons, ions, whatever, pulses? Is our heart beating its last beats and it sends shockwaves to our brain? Or is it some sort of real event that our consciousness lives on? So the real question, and the question that's been asked since, like I said, thousands and thousands of years ago, is consciousness produced by the brain? Or are we more than just a brain?
Final thoughts, everybody. I'm going to start. Consciousness. Definitely more than the brain.
I believe.
That is my strength.
Amen.
That is what it is.
I'm snapping.
I think that there's enough. There's not only enough anecdotal evidence in here for me to believe, but I also just, maybe I'm just weird, but it just feels like there's something more. It feels like that it's not just the brain and the body. It feels like there's reason and there's hope and there's a love that is greater than the love that I can find here. So believe in Jesus, everybody.
Amen.
Jake, final thoughts for you.
I remember reading an article, it's been over 10 years now, but that they talked about that there, for a vast majority of people, there is this inner longing that they don't quite know how to explain. And oftentimes it has to do with the perception of purpose and then the idea of what life amounts to and then where is it going even afterwards. And I love that because I think deep down, as we've talked about, I think everyone either has the fear of what's going to happen after, or they have the excitement, that there is more to come. I am definitely one of those people. It's one of those that there is a sense of excitement. But with that excitement, it's not an excitement enough that I want my life to end early.
Yeah.
I want my life to go on for hopefully as long as I'm allowed to be here. And
I like life.
And then, if I sit down and start watching a show and my heart gives out right then shoot, I'm good. Let me go that way. But it's one that I'm really excited when things are over to see. And that we'll be able to kind of go for there.
Jake doesn't want a near-death experience. He just wants a death-death experience.
I don't want to come back.
No,
Jake would be one of those to be like, well, again, it's one of those that you look at and you're like, I don't want my wife to be alone.
Nope.
I don't want my kids to be fatherless.
Right.
So maybe there would be that sense of, okay, I need to go back. But at the same time, it's like, can you show me? Are they actually better off with me here? Are they? Can you just give me some hints? As my wife's listening to this, she's like, I'm going to kick your butt.
All right. Final words from Josh. But before we do, we are off next week. We will be coming back. Josh will be talking about his favorite subject, history.
Oh, that was Josh.
It was not. I put my hand in the air like I just don't care. Anyway, sorry.
And then I will be taking paranormal, and then Jake will be taking the human condition. So look forward to that. As always, if you have anything, this was a user or a listener recommendation, not a user recommendation. User recommendation.
That sounds
all right,
that's like how I talk about everyone.
Seriously. A listener recommendation. If you do have a listener recommendation, make sure to send us a comment either on any of our Facebook, Instagram, and or social media sites, and or you can emails at twaddlingalong.com. That's emails with an S at twaddlingalong.com. Okay, Josh, take us out.
First, I was going to see if Jake was going to snore. I feel so bad for that still. I'm so sorry. But anyway.
I'm not holding a grudge. I'm holding a grudge.
Most of the time we do this during our paranormal experience where we say, do we believe in it or not? And I'm going to do it in this one. I do believe. Near-death experiences happen, dang it. And you just need to believe it. Don't doubt it. It's all about Jesus.
So all your doubters out there, just believe it.
We'll see y'all.